The Mariners just can't seem to avoid the one-man wrecking crews as Rhys Hoskins handed them their fifth consecutive series loss today. Let's talk about it here on the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
How's it going, everyone? It is Wednesday, May 11th, 2022, and this is the Locked On Mariners postgame show brought to you by Blue Nile. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and available on all platforms. I am your host, Ty Gonzalez, reporter and editor over at allseahawks.com, joined as always by my co-host, Colby Patnode. Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANE. GNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, CPAT11. Be sure to also check out our Patreon, where we talk about the Mariners even more and also get into some non-baseball talk twice a week. Visit patreon.com/control the zone for more information on that if you are interested and want more of us. And if this is your first time joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, welcome to the show. If you like what you hear, give us a follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to this. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. So the Mariners, unfortunately, lost again today. What else is new? They are now 14-18. They have lost 5 series in a row. This time they lose 4-2 to the Philadelphia Phillies, and really all because Rhys Hoskins pulled off his best Manuel Margot impression. Grand slam, his third home run of this series, and that was all the scoring the Phillies got and all the scoring they really needed because the Mariners offensively just could not capitalize whatsoever. They only get a pair of runs in this one. Colby, you got some pretty interesting stats that kind of paint the picture of how this day went for the Mariners, right?
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves of the lineup today. Mariners 1 through 4 hitters today. They did their job and then some. They went 7 for 16. They had 3 doubles. They drew a walk, and they only struck out once the entire game. Unfortunately, they had no backup whatsoever. Mariners pretty much emptied the entire bench into the back half of their lineup today. 5 through 9 in the Mariners lineup went 1 for 19 with just 1 walk and 9 strikeouts. The one hit was the check swing single for Jesse Winker, which had an exit velocity of roughly 48 miles an hour. That's the ball game. Yeah, you don't have to dig through the. I mean, we could stop the recording right now. That's how you lose 4-2.
Honestly, with the way that our day has been going, the recording might stop for us. Just for clarification here, this is our 5th take today. Anyway, continue.
But that's how you lose, man. You cannot expect 1 through 4 to carry you the entire game, especially when 5 through 9 gave you nothing. It's not that 5 through 9 didn't really come up a few times. Like it was like, you needed a little bit more from them. You needed something from them, and you got nothing. They didn't hit a ball to the outfield grass all day today.
Yeah.
That tells you all you need to know. And they struck out 8 times. They didn't draw walks. They didn't hit the ball hard at all. 1 through 4 tried to carry the Mariners, and unfortunately, those guys basically in this scenario, they have to be perfect to make up for a 1 for 19, and they're not anywhere close to being perfect, and nor should anybody expect them to. Adam Frazier had a great game today. Ty France had a pretty good game today. Julio Rodriguez checked in with a hit. Yeah. And, it just – JP had a couple hits, including a double. They were great. They were great. Yeah. Unfortunately for the Mariners right now, none of those guys are exactly power hitters. They can run into one, but none of those guys are, 35 home run guys right now. Maybe Julio will be eventually. Yeah. But that's a lot of singles in there. And, if you're not – it's really hard to string together 3 singles in a row to score, which is basically what they have to do when the bottom half of your lineup is going to go 1 for 19. So the Mariners are kind of in a rut right now. They have their 4 best guys in the top 4 spots in the order. That's really all you can ask for. But it's not going to be enough if 5 through 9 gives you 1 for 19 with 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, it was basically same script, different day for the Mariners. Bailey Falter, yet another MLB The Show creative player who just comes out of nowhere and pretty much dominates the Mariners, at least 5 through 9. they just couldn't get anything going off of him. They only get the one run on the Julio RBI, but yeah, I mean, you just can't have that. You just can't have your 5 through 9, a significant portion, I mean, more than half of your lineup just be an utter black hole for you. You just can't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably a discussion we'll have on tomorrow's episode or Friday's episode, but I don't think the Mariners can wait anymore. I don't think Jerry Dipoto can wait anymore. Yeah, right now the market isn't going to be great, but I think you have to make some sort of trade here, particularly in the outfield, because right now you got to do something. This team, we were saying this right before we hit record, that this team could really use its version of Denard Span.
Yep.
Remember when the Mariners traded for Denard Span and Alex Colomé in late May of the 2018 season? Yeah. That was huge. That was huge for them. Span was, the prize of that deal was Colomé, but Span was a huge piece of that, who came up in some pretty big spots. We talked about a pretty comparable trade on yesterday's episode of Locked On Mariners that would net the Mariners, one of their former outfielders, Ben Gamel from the Pirates, and Chris Stratton, who's a really interesting reliever. And Gamel right now, I'm sure a lot of people hear that name and they go, ugh. But Gamel right now, if you look at his numbers, he's been fantastic. You listed the numbers yesterday. He's hitting for power. He's hitting for average. He's getting on base. And he's playing a, fringe average left field, which, I mean, what are you getting right now in left field? So what does that really matter? You need something better here. And whether it's Gamel, whether it's someone else, you need to do something. And again, we'll probably talk about this more, to a more extended period on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Mariners. But yeah, it's just, you look at this lineup right now, and obviously, a big part of that is Jesse Winker's not performing right now. And that's huge. That's killing you right now, because that was arguably your biggest addition of the offseason, even compared to adding, the reigning NAIL Cy Young Award winner. We mentioned it when they got Winker that, hey, they're getting one of the most underrated hitters in all of baseball. This guy has statistically been a top 10 hitter in all of baseball for the last, couple of years, and you're not getting that at all right now. And yeah, a lot of it has been bad luck, but he also just looks like he's pressing right now a lot, and it's and I would assume that's part of, that's some of that is the bad luck, kind of frustrating him and leading to that. And whatever the reason may be, though, you're not getting results out of Jesse Winker. This is why we had that great debate about the lineup and all this stuff, last week. That's a big part here. Obviously, you're also missing Mitch Haniger. That's going to take a huge chunk of, power potential out of your lineup. That's, that takes a lot. That just takes away a significant portion of your ceiling, just like Winker does as well. And, Tom Murphy was also hitting pretty well before he got injured. It seems like they actually might be close to getting him back. We might talk about that later on in today's show. But, yeah, you're missing really 3 key pieces there. And that kind of tells the story for the most part. And also, Jerry Kelnick has regressed from where he was at the end of September. I'm sure you're going to make the argument, whether it's on today's show or tomorrow's show or whatever, that he probably should not make the road trip with the Mariners.
Right.
So there's a lot of bad going on. Luis Torrens has significantly regressed at the plate so far in terms of results. It's just all these things combined. Plus, Eugenio Suarez has cooled off as well. And that's just all of this stuff kind of going together is why you're seeing this. And again, at this point, considering how things are going, considering how, and obviously you don't want to react too much to what's going on around you in the league. But look, the AL West looks tough. The Angels look tough. The Astros look tough. You're going to get left behind pretty quick here if you don't get aggressive. That's how I feel at this point. That's where I stand. I think Jerry Dipoto needs to do something here, because I said this offseason, I told our listeners here on Control the Zone, my followers on Twitter, that hey, Jerry Dipoto is someone that is not going to wait. He is not going to sit on his hands if things go awry, and he's going to make a move. Well, let's see it, right? I I think that it is imperative that they do something now to fix this, because this offense is not conducive to winning ball games right now. It's just not the way that it's lined up. And yeah, there may be a couple things that they can do in house that will help some of those things. Getting Kyle Lewis back is obviously, hopefully going to be a pretty big boon for them. Maybe bringing up someone like Steven Souza as well. Obviously, they cleared a 40-man roster spot with today's trade. By the way, we're probably going to talk about that trade on tomorrow's show rather than today. But maybe that's a way to bring Souza up for the road trip, and maybe that's the precursor to Kalanick getting sent down. But yeah, this offense needs significant changes. It needs it now. This is not, and this isn't really me hitting the panic button necessarily. It's just, look, the results aren't there. You got to make changes. You can't just let it ride and see how it plays out. If you have the intentions for this season that you claim to have, and that's to make the playoffs, that's to end this effing drought, as Mitch Haniger put it in that Players Tribune piece, then you need to get serious about this thing, and you can't let this linger for far too much longer. Because it's just we're going to continually see games like this play out, if not.
Yeah. They have to do something, and they have to do it now. And it doesn't have to be a trade, because again, it takes two to tango, and there's not going to be a lot of teams willing to trade you a decent bat right now. But you have to try something, and you don't really want to rush Kyle Lewis. It seems like he's getting pretty close, but the last thing you want to do is rush that and then have him suffer a setback and then lose him for more time. So you got to be careful there. And so maybe it is just Steven Souza Jr. Maybe it is just Billy Hamilton, and asking Billy Hamilton to bunt every time. He's probably going to do better than 1 for 19. So they got to do something. Talked yesterday that Donovan Walton calling him up might be an option. Well, they traded him today, so that's not one of them anymore. But they have to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. We need action, basically. We need something from the Mariners front office here, because it's just this lineup, this roster right now, it's not going to get it done. I think that's pretty clear at this point. So we're going to talk about Logan Gilbert's start, because aside from the Grand Slam, there were some positives there. There were also some negatives. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by LinkedIn. With spring in the air, it's a time of renewal and growth, personally and professionally. As your small business grows, LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring, so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. You're listening to Locked On Mariners. Thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. Recaps of MLB games with analysis from our local experts, including myself, taking fans through the season like no other network. It is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. So Logan Gilbert started this game and went 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, all coming on that Grand Slam. He did have 3 walks. That continues to be a little bit of struggle for him here over the last few starts. 9 strikeouts, gave up quite a bit of hard contact, and did have 14 whiffs. But yeah, again, a lot of hard hit balls. The walks becoming more of an issue for him. He's certainly regressed from where he was in April, which is to be expected, but there have been some concerning signs here, right?
Yeah, particularly the fastball command. He's missing arm side a lot. And it's what came back to bite him today. You know, he was cruising. He was very good Had a couple of long innings in the first, long at bat. In the second inning, he really struggled with his control, but then he came out in the third. He looked great. He came out in the fourth and he looked pretty good. And then the fifth, there was nothing hard hit off of Logan Gilbert that inning until obviously the grand slam, and in that at bat, it felt inevitable. He fell behind 2-1. He was struggling at that point to land the slider or the changeup, and obviously he was struggling with his command too. So what pitch does he trust the most? The fastball. So what was Rhys Hoskins going to get in a 2-1 count with the bases loaded? He's going to get a fastball, and you know what? He got it. He didn't miss it. And after that, Gilbert was fine. So he got himself into trouble, and that's the result. You can expect when you're living off of just a fastball, and you can't really control it inside to righties. Right now, he's missing arm side a lot, and it's running in. And if you're Gilbert with the bases loaded again, and that fast, you don't trust that fastball to land on the inside corner because you might hit the guy. What are you going to do? You're going to put it down the middle, and Rhys Hoskins is going to hit that pitch. So Logan backed himself into a corner there. He couldn't get out of it. But overall, for the most part, he was pretty good despite the walks. Obviously, again, two of them come around to score on the grand slam. But there was this might have been, he had very good stuff today for the most part, up to 98 on the fastball. Honestly, not too many whiffs, only 14 on 52 swings. That's not bad. None on the slider. They were not chasing the slider. Fastball, again, was pretty good, except for the one he left to Hoskins. And the changeup was actually his best secondary today, which is nice because when you're facing, Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper off the top, you need that changeup as a righty. So there were some positives here, but again, this is I believe the fourth consecutive start where Gilbert has walked three guys. And unlike the other starts, he just could not get away with it. This is now two in a row where he just didn't quite have what it takes to pitch out of the issues that he created. But the good news is, again, it's not that he's getting hit hard, right? It's that he's putting himself in these situations with walks, and walks is not something that's a part of Logan Gilbert's profile. He's not a guy who has control issues typically. This is more than likely just a blip on the radar, something mechanical that he will get figured out. And Gilbert is probably the most analytically minded pitcher on the Mariners starting staff. He's going to watch the film. He's going to get to work with Pete Woodworth, and he's going to get it figured out. I'm not concerned about the arm side fastball control for Logan Gilbert long term, but right now it is something he has to watch, and it's something that we'll need to watch in his next few starts because it's a critically important pitch for Logan Gilbert. It sets up the slider away, and if he doesn't have it or he doesn't trust it that he can dot it on the inside corner to a righty, you're susceptible to outings like this.
Yeah, and Daniel Kramer had some quotes. I believe it was Kramer at least. Had some quotes from Scott Service about Gilbert, talking about some of the arm side misses that Gilbert has had, and just he straight up called them non-competitive pitches, which they are, and so that's something that they're very aware of enough to just publicly outright say it. And I mean, it's obvious, we can all see it, but hopefully that's, like you said, that's something that, because Gilbert is so analytically minded and film oriented, that he is going to be able to work on that and make the appropriate changes, because he needs to. And that's just, that's kind of the natural course of the season type of stuff, right? Because look, even today, giving up 4 runs, while it wasn't great, counts got up, and while he's, struggling at times to put guys away, and that's really keeping him from getting deep into ball games. That was something that Service also talked about. 4 runs should still be able to give your team a decent enough shot to win. So a lot of this still, not to get on another rant about the offense, but a lot of this still falls on the offense rather than Gilbert, because Gilbert isn't going to go out there and be perfect every single time. Like, he's not going to be the AL pitcher of the month that we saw last month every single night that he goes out there. Just, it's, that's unrealistic. But I have confidence, considering some of the changes that we have seen from year 1 to year 2 for Gilbert, and just some of the progress that he has been able to make. I do feel confident that that he will be able to, kind of figure this stuff out and get back on track and become a little more efficient. And hopefully with that will come some deeper starts for him, because it would be nice to see him go 7-8 innings, 9 innings, because he has the stuff for it. He absolutely has the stuff for it. And the walks and being, the struggles and putting guys away, that shouldn't be something that lasts, consistently for him. That shouldn't be something that's a major problem for him down the road with the stuff that he has.
I don't think Gilbert's ever going to be a high volume strikeout guy, though. Like, he's not going to be 240 strikeouts and 200 innings.
No.
He should probably be in the 180 to 200 range in a 200 inning season. So there does need to be some kind of, Gilbert needs something that some kind of pitch that can be put in play. It's tough to explain, because obviously Gilbert's been pretty good this year, but he is susceptible to these long innings because, again, his fastball is kind of his go-to pitch. And while it's very difficult to square up the fastball, it's still a fastball. It's still pretty straight, relatively speaking. And so you're going to see a lot of foul balls. For example, the today, right? The Phillies swung at 38 fastballs. They fouled off 24.
It kind of feels like he needs a changeup, like a better change, like, because obviously he has a changeup, but he hasn't really used it
more. Yeah. Because he threw it 12 times today, got 5 swings on it, 3 whiffs out of 5 swings, 1 foul ball. Only 1 was put in play. It was a 84 mile per hour out. I feel like he needs to just trust the changeup a little bit more, and he needs to throw it to righties. Right now, it's almost exclusively he wants to go fastball slider to righties. He needs to mix in that changeup. He needs to not be afraid that it's going to get hit. The changeup could be the most important pitch for Gilbert. The slider is probably the one that gets the strikeouts, but the changeup is going to be the one that gets the ground balls, and it turns the 22 pitch innings into 16 pitch innings because he's able to get a ground ball double play instead of having to get 2 fly balls. So. I feel like the changeup is going to be a critically important pitch to Gilbert, and he needs to start throwing it against more than just lefties. I think it can be okay against righties. You have to be smart with it. You have to spot it just like any other pitch. But while it's a weapon against lefties, he needs it to work against righties. And I think if he just trusted it and threw it a little bit more, it would. So I think that pitch could be the one that takes him over the top from what he is right now, which is probably a solid number 3, I think we would say, with definitely a higher ceiling. But I think right now I would say Gilbert, compared to every other pitcher in baseball, number 3.
All right, so we got some injury updates from Scott's service today, and they're positive. One of them actually fairly surprising. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by Built Bar. Imagine dipping your finger into that plastic tub of birthday cake frosting and then opening your eyes and realizing that was only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. That is what it is like to eat a birthday cake puff from Built. I just received my birthday cake puffs, and I have never had anything like this before. They're available right now, and we can't promise that they will be there tomorrow, so go get them today at Built.com. And if you haven't tried the puffs, I'll let you in on a little secret, because that's what friends do. They are chocolate-covered marshmallow protein bars. Yeah, you heard me. Delicious flavored marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. Make every day your birthday with Built Bar's birthday cake puffs. Built has taken the delicious experience of biting into a fresh slice of birthday cake and robed it in 100% white chocolate and added sprinkles. All Built Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means with Built, you can eat healthy and actually enjoy doing it. So go to Built.com, try some for yourself. Use promo code LOCKED15, that's LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at Built.com. So we got some injury updates, like I said, from Scott's service this morning. Sergio Romo, who went on a little rehab stint in Tacoma, is going to be flying with the team on this upcoming road trip. And apparently Tom Murphy is going to be joining him after suffering a dislocated left shoulder And Service said there's actually a pretty decent chance that he might get activated before the end of the road trip. Colby, that's pretty surprising considering the injury that he suffered, right?
Yeah, especially since, Scott said the day after the injury that it's going to be a while. It is on his non-throwing shoulder, which I guess helps, but that is your lead shoulder when you're swinging the bat. So,
and another thing to mention, by the way, is he hasn't swung a bat since still, which adds to the, I don't know, the confusion, I guess, as with this timeline.
It really feels more like wishful thinking to me. I have a hard time, unless it was misdiagnosed or unless it was there's some kind of severity thing that we don't know about. Again, not a doctor. Shocking, I know. I don't know if there's different severities to dislocated shoulders.
Hashtag not a doctor. Hashtag not a doctor.
Hashtag not medical advice. Hashtag. But I don't know if there's like a severity thing or not, but I would be pretty shocked if he was back by the end of the road trip. But yeah, obviously he's on the 10-day IL right now. He's missed 3 games, 3 days. So he wouldn't be back until after the Toronto series at the earliest, if my math is correct. So that would be Boston.
I think he's missed 4 games, right? Because he missed Sunday.
Okay, so technically
he was hurt on Saturday, right? Yeah. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today. Saturday, so 4. Yeah.
Okay, so he could technically be back for the last game in Toronto, but
I would think at the earliest it's going to be like second or third game in Boston. Right, but it is interesting that he is flying with the team. So it seems like they do think there's a real chance. I mean, because they wouldn't do that, especially even with COVID right now, even with COVID kind of, they wouldn't risk having another person on the plane and all that. So
it feels weird to me that they're bringing him along and not saying like, okay, look, we know you can't even come out until, let's be real. Let's just say Boston, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we just put you in like, I don't. Is he eligible for a rehab stint? Like, let's get you in some games in Tacoma, see how you feel swinging the bat, and you feel okay, then we'll fly you to Boston. Like, it's not like it's going to be hard for them to get him to Boston. So, Murphy shipping up to Boston. Anyways, Sergio Romo should help a lot. It'll be interesting to see. They have to make a move there. It'll be interesting to see who they send down. My guess would be Danny Young, but that's just a guess. Penn Murphy is. I know Murphy and Seawald and Romo are kind of similar in that they throw a lot of sliders and all that stuff, but I can't imagine sending Penn Murphy down after what he's done for this bullpen since his call-up. So Danny Young is the guy for me, and then we'll see if they make any other roster moves. They do have the open 40-man spot. Steven Souza Jr. almost called up once.
No.
He is not on the 40-man.
Yeah,
maybe we see Kyle Lewis by the end of the road trip. Who knows? But yeah, we're gonna get some moves from the Mariners tomorrow. At the very least, we'll have to see who they send down to activate Sergio Romo, and I would not be shocked if there was at least one other move, if not 2.
Romo's going to be huge to get to because this bullpen really, really needs some help right now.
And it allows you to kind of push Swanson back into more high leverage situations if that's what you want to do. Or you could leave Swanson where he is, and Romo can handle the high leverage spots. It's not ideal. It's not where you want him, but he has a high floor, and so he's going to throw strikes.
Yeah, and he's going to limit damage. Like he's going to limit hard contact. I mean, that's what that's his calling card, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, every reliever will blow up. He'll have a bad outing here or there, but for the most part, he's going to be very, very he's going to be very reliable and dependable when he's out there, and that's exactly what this bullpen needs. Because again, now you can kind of set up, all right, Seawald. It kind of looks like it's Seawald, Munoz, Swanson are your big high leverage guys right now. And then a second rider came out today and looked pretty good. Velocity is kind of going up for Steck, so maybe he's getting in the groove a little bit. That would help a lot. And then Giles, hopefully early next month you get him back. But Romo's going to help a lot.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Yeah, unfortunately not. But Tom Murphy might be able to, so we'll see. But also Kyle he's going to be coming off. But both of those guys coming off of significant injuries, so who knows how long it's going to take them to get in the swing of things. And that again is another reason why you should probably go trade for someone, because you just can't rely on that coming to fruition. It's like
I'm just
it's basically the same situation as going into the season relying on Jared Kelenic and Julio Rodriguez to
yep,
perform. Which, hey, Julio has performed pretty
yep,
well lately, but
yep.
Kelnick hasn't, and that you've seen what that's done to this offense. So,
If
yeah, do not
only there
rely
were,
on everything going right for you,
yeah.
please.
If only there were a couple of smart guys or one smart guy and one host who had been pounding that point home all off season, that the Mariners should not overly rely on the young guys to produce. Geez, if only somebody had the foresight to do that. And by the way, I'm just throwing this out there. Make whatever connection you want out of this. Pittsburgh, by my understanding, is a very short plane ride to New York. Just throwing that out there.
Of course, yes. Just just
Tell
had
me
to
I'm wrong.
throw it in. Yeah. Hey, is how is your dislocated shoulder doing right now, Colby?
Dislocated shoulder from patting
Your
myself
back.
on the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fine. Like I got full range of motion.
Mm.
My hip is kind of messed up if you're wondering. So
Mm.
that's fun. Just slept wrong. Now my
Mm.
hip is kind of
That sucks.
So that's yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
it's
I can't imagine that it's more out of whack than the Mariners lineup right now, though, because
no.
yeah, that's they definitely slept wrong. They've slept wrong consistently every single night. Maybe they should change up their sleep routine. Maybe eat something different in the morning. I don't know. Do different workouts. Look. We might need to sacrifice something here for the Mariners to get back on track because oh boy, outside of that 1 through 4, it's been rough going. Today was not fun to watch. The Mariners struggles paired with the dead ball, and by the way, another example today of just MLB replay being utterly useless on that Adam Frazier double, which shouldn't have been a double, but it was. I mean, I'll certainly take it, but yeah, that was clearly a tag there by Gene Segura. But yeah, with the dead ball and the umpires being the umpires and the Mariners struggles, baseball is not a great product for me right now. Not having a lot of fun watching baseball. It's pretty lame, quite frankly.
Well, Ty, on the plus side, you do get to see Julio Rodriguez square off against Max Scherzer on Friday. So
I mean, that's cool. That is cool. I mean, I'm concerned about Julio in that particular matchup, but hey, I mean, like we said this yesterday that probably what's going to happen is the Mariners struggle like this. They can't get any runs off of Bailey Falter or Ranger Suarez, but they go to New York and they drop 7 on Max Scherzer because baseball, chaos ball. But I'm not a particular fan of this version of chaos ball. I like last year's version a lot more than this year's version. Yeah, can we have some more of the 2021 Mariners? That would be nice. I don't like the 2022 Mariners right now.
I'm just throwing this out there. The 2021 Mariners really struggled in May too.
That is true. They were a far different team than they ended up being at the end of the year. So, hey, there is hope. There is definitely hope. The Mariners are only 4 games under 500. Could be a lot worse considering how they're playing right now, for being real.
And, I mean, if you guys want to know how crazy baseball is, I'm pretty sure the Pittsburgh Pirates just took a series from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Excuse me? That happened? Did that really happen?
They won today. I'm pretty sure they won the other night.
Oh, wow. That's
so
yeah. Baseball's off its rocker, man. I mean, Trey Turner has a sub 100 WRC plus right now.
Yeah, the Pirates, who just dropped a series to the Reds 3 days ago.
Wow.
Took 2 of 3 from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Baseball, folks. Baseball. All right, so on tomorrow's episode, we're going to be covering the Donovan Walton trade. The Mariners actually got a pretty interesting prospect back in that trade. So we're going to be talking about him, breaking him down a little bit more for you on tomorrow's episode. And we're probably going to be making a little bit of an announcement that we made on today's episode of Control the Zone, which was our 100th episode of our mainline show on Patreon. So be sure to check out patreon.com/Control the Zone. It's down in the description below. But yeah, we're probably going to be talking about that and taking advantage of the off day and counting our blessings that, hey, the Mariners cannot lose tomorrow. They cannot lose tomorrow. They also cannot win. But the most important thing here is they cannot lose tomorrow. So
that's right.
On that note, that's going to do it for our show today. Thank you so much for joining us here on Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Ty Dane Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And thank you again for making us your first listen of the day, just like you do here every day. We greatly appreciate your support. Now make your second listen of the day Locked On MLB. That's where Paul Francis Sullivan, and please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the Major League's present and past. It's free wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. So have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace.